parked perfectly. My cart's over there. Basically, we don't know what's going on. And at the moment, we've got no idea whether we're going to be able to keep our results or not. I'm going to update you once we know whether or not we're disqualified. So it's 6:40 AM on Friday. It is Friday, right?
It is Friday.
Yeah, okay.
I was thinking there were work people in there. Why are people working on Saturday on Friday?
So we're on our way to Llandow in Wales. This is round 4 of the GXUK Championship. We're over the halfway point. This is where it gets serious. I'm going to explain to you a little bit of the background about what's happened so far when we get to the track. But today, we're just going to arrive, set all of our gear up. Alex is going to try and do some testing this afternoon because he's never driven the track before. But I'm just going to basically chill out, enjoy the day in Wales, and then it gets serious tomorrow. So we're here, we've set up. I've got some work to do on my car, just get the engine on, that kind of thing. But look, we've got a camp and we're right in the middle of the best spectator area on the whole track. We've got the first corner behind us and we've got a really interesting couple of sweeping corners over in this direction. So since the last race, I've had my engine rebuilt. It really needed it because it was not very fast. So Super Paul Mullin down here, as you can see, he's named, is going to go on the car. So I'm going to run him in tomorrow and then he will be ready for the race on Sunday. So that's my next job. So I'm basically done now for my day. Everything's set up, engine's had an initial little run in on the stand, changed the oil, really ready to do some practice tomorrow. Let's go help Alex to see how he's getting on learning the circuit. So it's Friday evening, our carts are all put to bed in the morning. Paul's cart from the last video that you will have seen. So yeah, let's go for a little walk before we go back to our hotel.
It's on low battery, so it don't go that quick.
Can I be a real geek and have a go too? Come on.
He's probably going to break it. Oh my god! He's going to break the bike!
Stop twisting the front.
Oh my god! That's it! Give it back!
Give it back to him.
Give it back!
That's enough.
Whoops!
Did you break it? You were on the throttle!
I mean, I couldn't take it off because
That was all on video!
Whoopsie! Oh. And it moved away from me and it just went. I'm on it here.
Yeah, here. I'm hooking here.
You've got to hook. Here.
Inside wheel over the inside here.
You have a bit of a lift, not a whole lift.
Yeah.
Because if you have a whole lift, the rear goes. This guy is a...
Alex got really annoyed that my alarm wakes you up.
No.
Yeah, we wouldn't shut up about it for like 10 minutes.
What are you doing?
I'm just trying to get as much footage as I can.
No, he does this shit early in the morning though. It's like...
Alex filming his vlog. It's going to get like 6 views if I watch it 5 times. Yeah, there's the track. It's quite dry. No, some people do watch it. If you're watching this video, click the link in the description below because Alex Vangeen's version of this weekend is going to be there.
1,000 views in last time.
Yeah. Did you actually have a couple of thousand views?
I think so.
That's because all the people watching this video are kind and they go and charitably watch Alex Vangeen. What's your channel called?
Alex Vangeen Racing.
Alex Vangeen Racing. There we go. Go check that out. Alright, anyway, on to the important stuff. Time for practice number 1. You're about to see that footage. Hopefully the nice, freshly rebuilt engine is good. I'm going to be running it in most of the day. See you after practice. Thanks, man. Middle of the day on the practice day update. We've had 3 practice sessions. You saw the first one went a little bit wrong. That was simply a little bit of dirt in the carburettor. So we cleaned that out. Now the cart's fine. In fact, the engine went brilliantly after that. This afternoon is just about finishing running in this engine, making sure I'm fully happy with the cart for tomorrow. Actually, maybe running in some traffic. I need to have some practice overtaking people around here. There's going to be a lot of that tomorrow. Paul, how was your first official GXUK day?
Yeah, it was really fun. I was quick, is the nice thing. I overtook a bunch of people.
So there's Jacob Sharrock and Matthew Roberts out there searching for their lost pace. It's like somewhere behind that tyre barrier.
Yeah, if you can lay down as if it's like you're like rolling out. I think that Homer Simpson used to push people over the bin. I was a fan of that terrible.
Let's go do some racing.
This is how I like to start my morning, with Russell's bum.
Oh yeah.
There'd be so much more footage if everyone didn't keep saying stuff about each other's mums.
Well, if your mum would leave me alone, I'd have less to say.
She's going to watch this. First race coming up, starting 12th for this one. Target for this one is podium. In fact, target for all 3 heats is podium, regardless of where we start. Wish me luck, here's how it went. So we're starting down in 12th position for this one, and we're behind George Massey. It's obviously going to be a little bit crowded into the first couple of corners, so this is just a case of trying to pick our way through, try to be clean. I need to finish every race because it's just so important to pick up the points. You score 0 points if you get a DNF in any of these races. So I'm slotting in behind George. We've got new driver to the series, Connor Botting, just ahead of us. And as the field sweeps through the spoon corner, everyone's just starting to string out slightly, and I really don't want the leaders to get away from us. So my aim is to try and get past this next group of karts as quickly as possible. But then Sebastian Musica has an accident with Connor Botting. No idea whose fault that was, but that removes them from the picture, and now it's me right up behind George Massey. So I'm going to try and get him as quickly as I can. I'm trying to get a run on him down the straight, but I just can't, even with the slipstream, can't really close in on there. So let's have a look at what's going on with Paul. So my brother Paul, in the first corner here, manages to make up a few spaces. He's really fighting for the novice trophy today, so he needs to beat anyone with a black number plate. Looks like that started off well for him. So now back onto George. I'm going to go down his inside into the second chicane, use lots of curb just to try and give him some room, and that worked out well. So next up, the next group of karts, which begins with Tom Purchase, who immediately defends, which is exactly what I'd expect from Tom. So I'm going to try and get him on a cutback. And then next up is Richard Melton Baxter. So he's the kart up ahead. He started on pole position. We've got quite a significant gap to him right now, so going to have to try and close that down as quickly as possible. Need to be as clean as possible into this second chicane. Richard's run slightly wide, so that's helped me out a lot. That's actually put me into a slipstream down the back straight, and I think we can get a bit of a tow and just drive down the inside into the hairpin. So nice, easy overtaking opportunity. Next up, the top 3. So we're up to 4th position now as we cross the start line, heading onto the following lap. And I've got a bit of a gap to try and close down. So let's just fast forward to the point where I'm back on the tail of 3rd place. This is Ethan Hall. He's looking at me, he knows I'm here. And again, same move as we did with Richard Melton Baxter. Just a simple overtake down the inside into the hairpin. Nothing fancy so far, but now we've got the 2 young hotshots. These 2 lads are nearly 20 years my junior. We've got first up Matthew Roberts and then Jacob Sharrock, who won the last round at Hooton Park. Need to try and get past these guys to score the big points, because these are going to be the rivals in the final. So Matt goes to the left, opens the door for me into the spoon. Nice simple move. One of the best overtaking spots on this whole track, and you're going to see quite a few moves into there through the rest of this video. And now I need to try and drag up to the back of Jacob. So Jacob looks pretty good here, no major mistakes as you'd expect. So I'm going to need to really make up some ground on the brakes, being accurate over the curbs, and then hopefully tag onto his slipstream. And I think we're already just starting to pick up a slight slipstream as we go down the back straight. Oh, helped along by Matthew Roberts pushing me down the back straight. So thanks for working with me there, Matt. Now we're significantly closer to number 25, Jacob. So I'm going to just try and close again on the brakes into the bus stop chicane here. I think it's called the hook, this corner, and you can see we've just closed the gap there on the way into the apex. And again, we're slightly closer, slightly better slipstream. Not going to try anything just yet though. Jacob gets slightly sideways into the double left before the spoon, which just gives me the opportunity to go straight down the inside. I wasn't particularly close, but sometimes that works in your favour because it means you can then hang the other person out to dry a little bit on the exit. He's tucked in behind me, and now I need to try and keep him behind for the rest of this race. So as you can imagine, the focus is now on being as clean as possible, trying not to give him any opportunity to get a run on me, just trying to drive effectively a qualifying lap, but bearing in mind I know he's right behind me. And he's got 3rd place man Matthew Roberts to help push him up behind me. So I went a little bit defensive on that lap into the hairpin just to try and prevent them from diving down the inside. And it worked out, unlike at the last round at Hooton Park where I let someone through right at the end of the race. Didn't happen this time. Yeah, that was good. That's what we wanted. Good race. Couldn't really shake the guys off though. Matt and Jacob were fast. P1 from my worst start position. Happy with that. Really good points for the championship. Just increased the championship lead a little bit there. Fastest lap of the weekend there, 51.9. Happy with that. Okay, so race 1 was exciting. 12th to 1st. It was definitely not guaranteed at any point. Ooh, why is Kai... What's happened to Kai? I did not see what happened there. Okay, so Kai was leading the cadets. I thought he had it all won. And then suddenly he's in the barriers having his cart carried across. So hopefully Kai's okay. I didn't want to film him up close because he's obviously not very happy about what just happened, but I think he had a bit of a mechanical problem, so he's got the pace, he can still win anyway. So we'll give you an update on Kai later. On to race 2, a little bit of kart prep. Just as an update on Paul's race, he won the novices I think for heat 1, which is what his target was, and hopefully there were some exciting overtakes. I don't know just yet, but I'm sure you're watching it right now. So anyway, on to race 2, see you after that one. This is an interesting one because we've got some of the very front runners all bunched up near the front. So Russell Endine over here, second quickest lap in the first race. Matt Roberts fighting for the win in the last race, came second. Jacob came third in the last race. Got Tom Angier, who was on pole at Hooton Park our last round. I'm here, Tom Stalker's here as well. Loads of the quick guys at the front. I'd rather watch this one I think than drive in it. Well Tim, your wish is my command, so here we go. I'm right up behind Tim that you just saw in the video there, going into turn 1, and we managed to work together as a row on the right hand side and pull ahead. So I've gone from 5th up to 3rd place in the first corner, so a really good start. We've got Tom Butler leading the race, and I'm going to try and make a move straight away on Tim Kansas, so I've only got one more car to deal with. So Tom Butler going nice and wide to get a good cut back into the exit of the spoon there. I'm staying slightly defensive because I don't want anyone coming past me after I've made this good progress early on. And so my next task is clearly to try and get past Tom. A small error there on cold tyres for Tom into the fast right-hander puts me completely on his tail going into the second chicane, and he's made another little error in the middle of the chicane. Clearly struggling to get some temperature in the tyres on the first lap of this race is Tom, so I'm going to go for a move down his inside. I want to get this done early doors. It'd be good to be leading at the end of the first lap. So there we go. Nice and clean, no dramas. It's good to be racing against clean drivers who don't just turn in on you. So you can see in the background there though, my rival Jacob making his way up to 4th and trying to get past Tom Angier for 3rd. And sure enough, a couple of laps later you can see here Jacob's right on my tail, and suddenly I've got a race on my hands. This was never going to be straightforward, was it? So skipping forward half a lap to the back straight, and Jacob is straight down my inside. I managed to get the cut back on him and get back in front, but this is going to be a race to the finish. So a little bit later on, I'm going to take my natural line into the spoon corner, and Jacob is straight through. So any gap you leave, he's going to be through. Luckily enough though, I managed to get the cut back. And then slightly later on again, he's down my inside going into the hairpin. And this time, he's judged it so well, he's parked it on the apex, and I'm just not able to get such a good run back at him. But it's not over yet, because I sense a slight opportunity into turn 1. Not made a move here yet today, but let's give it a try. Then you've got to go all the way around the outside of the hook corner. Didn't work, but Jacob gave me loads of room. Lovely clean racing. So let's try and get him back into the double left-hander. Constant position swapping in this race, but he's still alongside me. He's on my right-hand side. This isn't over. We've been side by side for most of this lap. And again, I'm going to try the cut back on the exit of the spoon. And this time, I think I'm just in a good enough position that he's not going to be able to come back at me. So for this lap at least, we've managed to make it stick. I go defensive into the final hairpin just to try and keep him away. And he's back ahead again. He's managed to get the advantage and the run down into turn 1. So absolutely making me fight for this one. I really want the win. It'd be lovely to take a second win of the day. I've only had 4 wins in the entire season until today. So let's see if we can get it. Not over yet as we go into the double left-hander. So the typical overtaking point is on the right into the spoon here. I decide against it this time because Jacob's positioned his car in a way that just lets me know that he doesn't want me coming through there. And again, very defensive into the flat-out right-hander that leads onto the back straight. So there's not really an opportunity into the second chicane here. You can't really go down people's insides there. Have tried it, and you have to be fully alongside by the time you arrive there. So now maybe it's going to be about getting a run down this final straight before the hairpin at the end of the lap. But he's got a little bit of a gap on me. There's absolutely no way I can outbrake him into there, but I can close up on the brakes. So that's going to really benefit me through the rest of the day, being slightly better than some people on the brakes into the tight corners. And obviously Jacob's playing it safe there and trying not to make any mistakes because he knows he's got the high ground, he's got the track position. So where can we make this move? It's not going to be into the double left, just not close enough. He gets slightly sideways there through the double left though, and that gives me the opportunity. This time we were close enough just to dart to the inside. And I think at this point, I'm not going to let him back through. As we come to the finish line, I've made it stick on the final lap, but look how close it was. Jacob and Matt directly behind me again. This thing's going to go down to the wire. That was a good race. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Jacob and Matt are super clean drivers when we're in fights like that. That was unreal. What I liked was that the three of us, I think we managed to go far enough without fighting that we could then actually have a fight.
I was trying to work with you because I could see him coming.
That was how it should be. That was just really, really cool. I couldn't get away from the guys behind. Jacob and Matt just fought so cleanly. The side-by-side into turn 1 and 2, just mega. Super mega. Thanks for watching so far. Paul had a bad race that time. He had a drop-down nose, so his bumper was flapping around. Join us shortly for race 3. So here we are again then, the beginning of the third heat, this time starting in 11th position directly behind Russell Endine. So Russell's been one of the fastest drivers all weekend. So he's quite a good benchmark to work with and move forward through the pack together with, but he's had a little bit of argy-bargy there with Tom Stalker. That's actually let us through, so my next target is Tom Stalker. Haven't had many battles with him today so far, and that's unusual. I'm normally around the same piece of track as Tom, and now Russell's back up my inside, trying to make that move into the spoon. I've got just enough of a run to keep him behind at the moment. So we're going to try and use the slipstream here down the back straight to close up to Tom, and we have really through the middle of that corner, we got a really good run. I'm not really close enough to go for this, so I attempted it. I tried to use loads of curb. We make slight contact, but both of us come off absolutely fine. But on the exit of that second chicane, I do now get a run on Tom. I've got just enough of an overlap that he can't close the door because he'd spin himself out, and that lets me go down his inside. But that also lets Russell Endine go around my outside. He obviously set that up brilliantly. Love to have seen that from his view. Must have seen it unfolding in front of him. So we've gained a place, lost a place, and we've definitely lost some time to the pack ahead, and that's really the important thing. If we want to score the big points, we need to get up to that leading trio who are now somewhere in the distance. So the first thing I need to do is get back past Russell, and right now I'm just not close enough. So let's work with him to try and close up to the back of Tom Purchase, who's the next car in the row. You see me looking at each corner of my car, and that's because after the contact with Tom Stalker, I felt the kart was just a bit strange. It felt like the steering was slightly off centre, and actually when I checked it on the lasers later on, that was true. I just bent the front left slightly, so we had to repair that after this race. But for now, I need to work with Russell, and I don't want to race him, I want to push him forward. I want us both to close up to the pack in front. There's absolutely no need to waste time battling with Russell when we could be moving forward together. So, on to the next lap, and the pack are slightly closer at this point, so we need to be clean through these chicanes. I need to stay close enough to Russell to benefit from his slipstream, but not so close that I bump into him and lose myself time. And now, within a lap, we are right on the tail of this next group. There's two groups ahead of us. There's the top three, and then there's the next three. So Russell and I are going to try and get past Tom Purchase together. That red kart there, number 66, that's Tom. So next up, it's the new driver to the series who had that incident in the first race with Sebastian Musica. It's Connor Botting, so Russell has to deal with him first. Let's see what he does. I've got a nice little bit of space into the chicane here, so I can actually really stretch my legs, use my correct line, and now we're back on the slipstream of Russell. See if we can help push him through on Connor. In fact, I don't even need to really. Russell's already got the run, but what I can do is close up to his tail so Connor can't get back across and get in between us. So again, working together, Russell and I have made up another position. But it looks at this point like the pack in front are a little bit too far ahead. Don't know whether we're going to be able to catch up with them. It was Alex Vangeen who started on pole for this one, so I really want to get past Russell as soon as I can now. In racing terms, I feel like he's served his purpose for me. I just want to get past him and work on the next three on my own. So past I go down the inside into the spoon, and I can see the three in front are now fighting. One of them's on the grass. I think that was George Massey. So that means we've got a real opportunity to close up to them. And fast forwarding one lap, I'm right on the tail of third place, which at this point is Alex Vangeen. So he's managed to stay in touch with those two ahead, but he definitely makes a mistake there in the chicane, and that gives me a run down his inside onto that long back straight. And then up ahead, we've got Tom Angier leading the race, George Massey in second. George is having a great weekend, so I managed to slip down the inside of Alex, and then Alex is going to try and come back at me. Is it over? Normally at this point I'd be ahead, but you can see the blue and red kart of Alex manages just to drag back alongside me at the end of the straight. So one of the beauties of this circuit is that you can overtake in so many different places. By overtaking someone, you then compromise somewhere else. But now we're back on the inside of Alex Vangeen. We managed to get past him into the double left. That does tend to disadvantage the kart being overtaken quite significantly, so he can't come back at me there. And one lap later, we're in the lead fight. And it's still Tom Angier leading, with George Massey up the inside, but by trying to attack Tom, George then opens the door for me to go down the inside of both of them, but it's not over. They're both coming back past me on my right hand side into the flat out right. Nothing I can do, and this time it's George Massey in the lead of this race. So we'll have to try again somewhere else. I have to sit behind these guys into the second chicane here. Absolutely no way through on this lap, and let's see if we can get a run on either of these two down the long back straight. They've both got strong equipment, they're strong drivers. You can see I'm not able to close up down the straight, really just a little bit of slipstream. What I can do is open the corner up and dive down the inside of Tom, because he was trying to defend and also obviously trying to attack George. That gave me that opportunity. So now just one kart remaining, 11th up to 2nd, and this time it's quite a straightforward move up the inside. I managed to just get a cut back on George on the exit of the second chicane. I've got enough of an overlap that he can't turn across, keeping it simple into the last corner, really trying to use as much exit as possible so I get a good run across the finish line. And there we go, another win in the books.
Good race, man. You nearly got me on the last corner. There's a bit of a pattern here to the winner's enclosure. We've got a bit of a Tony Kart theme going on.
And so the grid for the final is me, him, him. There we go. That's it. You can watch it now. It's going to happen now.
What a grid! Yeah, so we've got less laps to work together now. Still got like 3 or 4 or 5 laps that we don't have to fight. If we can avoid it for a couple of laps, it'll be good. Let's have fun. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video so far, guys. Thank you so much for watching this far. So let's hope for a good race. Let's have some battles with Jacob and Russell and Matt. Or even better, let's have no battles. That'll be great.
Here we are then, the final, starting on pole. It's the first time I've begun at the front of the field all day, so this is nice. And just look at that pack of karts. Almost 30 karts in the first season of this series. And I just want to work with Jacob and Matt to pull away from all of them. So no racing on the first couple of laps. But those kind of plans don't last very long, and Matt and Jacob are working together to get past me. Fortunately for me, Matt doesn't make it through. And at this point, all I'm thinking is, I want to fight against one person, not two. So I now decide to break Jacob away from Matt. I don't want them working together. So for the next few laps, I'm going to make it extremely clear to Jacob that I am not going to attempt an overtake. I'm just going to push him down the straights, sit behind him through the corners, and try and drive as fast as possible to build a gap to Matt, who's in 3rd place. And that's what you're going to see now. Jacob knows that's what's happening, he gives me a little thumbs up, and I'm just going to follow him and push him at any opportunity to just try and build that gap. 2 karts working together are always quicker than one going it alone, so I can use his slipstream down the straights and just edge him away bit by bit, and hopefully at the end of the race I can then try and attack him without the threat of Matt overtaking me. I'd much rather the worst position I could finish is 2nd rather than 3rd, 4th or 5th. And the threat's very real. You've already seen in the heat that the moment people start attacking each other, they lose massive amounts of ground. And you can see in this shot just how much we've pulled away by working together in that lap and a half or so. But although I'm sitting behind and not attacking Jacob, I'm not being entirely passive. I'm trying to figure out exactly where he's strongest, where he's slightly weaker, and where there's anywhere on the track that he might make a small error that would give me an opportunity later in the race. And what you saw in that previous sequence of corners is he is struggling with oversteer on the way into and through the medium and high speed corners. And that's really where I make up most ground. My kart seems so stable by comparison. When you watch my steering inputs into the double left-hander or into the spoon corner, I never have to make a correction, whereas Jacob has quite significant amounts of opposite lock-on. And that's really on this lap why I've closed back up to him despite having a metre or so gap at the beginning of the lap. So onto another one, same process, not going to try anything strange at this point. I really want him to build trust in me that I'm not going to go for any moves, and that'll mean he'll take more and more of a natural line, which will make us both faster, but it'll also mean that there will be an opportunity for a gap down the inside when I want to make a move. So skipping towards the very end of the race now, just a couple of laps to go, I'm sensing that the opportunities are going to be slipping away unless I really go for something soon. So it's up to me now to put myself in a position where I can attack Jacob nice and decisively at some point in the next lap or so. I really don't want to let this wing go, and I felt fast all weekend, so I think I've got the pace to do it. All I need to do is make sure I position my kart to get past him somewhere in the next couple of minutes. But he knows what's coming, and he's looking behind. He thought about being defensive, but decided it really wasn't worth it into the hairpin on that lap, and he was right. I wasn't going for the move that time, but now you can see I really have him in my sights. I'm right up behind. I want to make sure there's as little gap as possible so that any opportunity I sense, I can go for it. And with a little dummy to the right, this is where I go. I go down the inside into the double left. Not the most common overtaking opportunity here, but what it does is really disadvantage that cart you've overtaken. It makes it harder for them to come back at you into the spoon exit, and that's what happens. There's no overlap for Jacob into here. Now I just want to get away. I just want to escape. Really clean final lap to the finish. And as we go down towards the second chicane on the final lap, he's got a slight gap to me. But actually I'm slightly too cautious in the middle of the chicane. He taps my rear, and you can see I go wider there on the exit than normal before immediately pulling to the right. But what that's done is it's given me a little bit of a gap to him, so he's not close enough to dive bomb into the final hairpin. That's why I don't defend. I just carry as much speed as possible to make sure there's no run for him to the line, and that's the win.
Yes! 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 Happy with that. Let's just get this last bit done. I've massively overfueled, so it should be fine on the way there.
When you get time, emulsion tube and jet. You need to get your jet out and your emulsion tube.
So we're being scrutineered here. Wait, did you win? No? I was winning, and I was second, winning second. Oh. Well done anyway, dude. Apparently I've got to take an emulsion tube out.
We're in the park perfectly. My cart's over there. Basically, we don't know what's going on. And at the moment, we've got no idea whether we're going to be able to keep our results or not. I'm going to update you once we know whether or not we're disqualified. What a palaver. Some confusion over engine race. Obviously, none of us build our own engines. They're sealed. So we buy an engine and we buy it to a certain set of regulations. We're all kind of noobs, so we didn't even really know how to take the jets out. First of all, I thought that I was in some trouble, but then it turned out everyone who was getting checked had stuff wrong. So, and then they found that it was, I think it was the wrong regs were printed out or something like that. So everything's fine. But yeah, a little minor scare. So we'll head back to the awning, begin our pack down, and next up is trophies.
Kai, how was your day?
I would. Weekend was over. Then I started 7th and final shot to 6 minutes. And oh my word, that was like the longest and hardest 6 minutes of my life.
Right, go follow Kai's YouTube channel, which is called
Kai Racing.
Hello, mate. Check his engine though.
adding the D4 to the overlay Brad Philpot.
You've done me all weekend.
How did your day end?
I finished P7, which to be fair I'm happy with because everyone who finished ahead of me was that little bit quicker, so I'm happy with the day. Some good fighting with some good mates. Fighting's fun, yeah.